What the fuck? Okay, how about now? Now it's showing the same picture of me making the new thing. What the fuck's going on? Why isn't it letting me... Hang on. There we go. Now the thing's in the way. So I can't take the picture of the thing when the thing's in the way. Of course. Of course. Well, now I can. Alright. So I'm just going to crop this. Because that's the important thing. Zoom in. Zoom in again. Just take the bottles at face value. And then we begin. So that's A. So I'll draw what I'm seeing here. So that's A. That's B. So B. Good. Whoa. Let's calm down, game. So that's C. Got it. That's D. Okay, we're starting to understand what's going on now. Okay, the middle one there is E. That's F. This would be G, right? Yeah. And that's H. Oh my god, it is ghosts. It is ghosts. So that's I. That's J. That's K. And that would be L. And the one at the far right is M. Okay, so this one will be N. Next bit is O. Then P. And then Q. Alright. And this one is R. And the next one is S. That's T. And I don't have to look at the other stuff because we now have the solution. So. Aren't I a smart motherfucker?
We meet again, my friend. I'm afraid that I have misled you slightly. My life ended long ago, and I've become part of this house. I now know the answers to all its mysteries, but I cannot share them with you. You must make your own decisions about ghosts and spirits, and wait until you leave this world to find the real answers. I wish you good luck with your quest.
So it was all a ruse. That motherfucker. This is why I don't trust the dead people. That's why I don't trust the fucking dead. Fucking Christopher Lee. All this time. All this time. And really, we've learned everything. We now have our own idea on ghosts. So,
Are you sure you want to leave the house now?
well, Lee, we've seen everything. We have made it through your entire place. We have feasted upon the mind of ghosts, and you have tricked us at the end, which is surprisingly realistic now because of the fact that you are indeed in real life dead. Yes, we're done here. Alright, so there are a few things. For instance, you can zoom into this. It doesn't do anything. It's a neat little image. Anywhere else, click us right to the game, so. But zoom in there. Can't do anything but.
Welcome.
No, no, no. We're good. Now, let's begin. We can click on the carpet. We can literally click on the carpet at the very beginning. We didn't do that last time, so let's do it.
I couldn't help but notice that you were admiring this splendid carpet. Mr. Montague, a previous occupant, brought it back from a world cruise alongside many other treasures. He was a well-travelled man, both in this world and in others. This house has a strange history. Many people have lived here, but none have stayed for very long. It is constructed not just from bricks and mortar, but from mysteries and legends. Some say the spirits of the dead walk its rooms and hallways. You may be one of the chosen few who feel their presence.
If we click here and then click somewhere around here, there should be a little jump scare. I'm not even kidding. If you click somewhere around this area, like a legit jump scare happens. This happened in a video. I saw it in a fucking video, but I don't know how to recreate this. There's a clickable spot somewhere where it will like show a minus thing, which just means that you're gonna get that little jump scare thing. It's somewhere around the diver helmet, basically, when I saw it. I can't activate it right now. I don't know how to activate it. I I don't know what the little this game. It it sure is something. Yeah, I don't know how to activate it. However, there are some things I do want to go through. Is this to the? Yes, it is. Good. I want to go to the kitchen. Right. Next to the sink, which is right here, there was this. I didn't actually know this was here, but now I do. Let's see what's inside. A, a corkscrew.
Remember the words of the Spirit.
Okay. The only other thing is down here. This is door. If you click it,
Are you sure you want to leave the house now?
yeah, it's another exit. There's only two exits in the entire game. But the main thing that I didn't know about would pretty much be over here, back here. It is the upstairs bedroom. So let's go. I don't want to walk up these stairs and I turned left and then this happened.
If you value your life, never cross another on the stairs.
I shit myself when I saw that. Anyway, I believe this is to the bedroom. Yep, here we are. So I think this is the one, or am I looking at the wrong one? I think it might be the one back here. There's a chest by the bed. No way, I am thinking of the wrong upstairs. I am looking at the wrong upstairs. The real upstairs is back here, not that way. By the, you know that room where you go upstairs and there's that, you know, that coffin thing? That's the, no, that's not the right way. It's back in there. To my left, down here, up here, up here, and then door. This. This is chest here. I wanna know what it does.
Love can be a bitter draught, its torment endless, as Edward Maybury learnt on that fateful Christmas Eve in Marwell Hall. Long had Edward courted his sweetheart Jane, and finally their much-anticipated wedding day arrived. That Christmas Eve the snow fell thick across the rolling fields of Winchester, blanketing all in spectral silence and sending a shudder through Edward Maybury as he raced his youthful bride home. But this was the most precious moment in his life, and he would not allow an ill whim to ruin it. When in sight of Marwell Hall, Edward reined in his steed to allow Jane to pass him by and reach the hall first. As she dismounted, smiling triumphantly back at him, Edward cherished the grace and spirit which had won his heart, and his mood lifted. He rushed down the embankment to greet their wedding guests, whose coach and horses were just turning into the courtyard. They entered the hall, and the marriage festivities began. That wintry evening, Marwell Hall came alive to the sounds of gaiety ushering down its darkened passageways and empty rooms. In the drawing-room, which burst with light and laughter, the guests took the full measure of their host's hospitality and ate and drank and danced well into the night. As the hour approached midnight, Jane grew weary of the conversation, which seemed to invariably drift towards Edward's business affairs. Seizing on a lull in the proceedings, she gathered everyone together for a game of hide-and-seek. After all, it was the tradition of the day for a newly-wed wife to hide from her husband, who, with the aid of other players, had to find his spouse and receive from her a kiss as his prize. As the long, slow count to 100 started, Edward cast a wistful glance in the direction of his departing wife, and then she was gone. Jane, still a little giddy from the wine, wasted no time in seeking a hiding place. As her eyes grew more accustomed to the dark, she caught glimpses of the house in which she and her dear Edward would spend the rest of their lives. She made a mental note to persuade her husband to throw away some of the ghastly old portraits whose eyes roamed along the main corridor through which she was now moving. When at last she came to the end of the passage, she stopped to catch her breath and removed from a seam on her dress a sprig of mistletoe with which to surprise her beloved. Clutching it tightly in her small hand, she moved on as the sound of her friends' voices approached. Outside, the snow continued to fall, and as the moon arced across the sky, the windowed chamber in which Jane found herself was suddenly bathed in an eerie silver glow, revealing a door she had never really noticed in her previous visits to the house. Finding it unlocked, she entered, closed it behind her, and proceeded excitedly up a narrow, twisting staircase which came to a tiny door. Fingers of light escaped from beneath the doorway, and Jane guessed that this must be the attic where Edward kept his own secrets. But the bolts were hefty, and it took all her strength to slide them free. The attic was damp and dusty and cold, lit only by weak shafts of moonlight filtering through the grimy skylight. Scattered about Jane were the tattered remains of Edward's past, boxes filled with childhood memories and dreadful furniture thankfully left up here. But best of all, there were plenty of places to hide. In the corner of the room, illuminated by a single strand of light, was a large oak chest which intrigued Jane. She was in luck. The chest was empty, aside from some cobwebs which were easily brushed aside. She had found her secret place and climbed eagerly inside, bringing the weighty lid down after her. It clanked shut. Inside the chest all was darkness and dust which filled her nostrils and mouth. Lying there in the airless quiet, she had not realized how tired she had grown after the evening's excitement and wine, and her limbs grew unaccountably heavy. The princess fell asleep. Her prince would soon come. Jane awoke in a sweat, not knowing how much time had passed inside the chest. It was intolerably hot now, and she longed for the cool air outside. She gasped for breath. Where were they? Surely they should have tried the attic by now. This wasn't fun anymore, and she decided to leave the box. But the lid would not open. Try as she might, with all the force she could muster, the lid would not open. It was then that the appalling dread struck her. The catch must have snapped shut when the lid slammed down. Fear squirmed in her throat. Jane screamed for help, clawing wildly at the inside of the lid, but her weakened voice broke into rasping sobs, and she tore her nails away from her fingers, now raw and splintered. Exhausted, she lay back, clutching the mistletoe to her breast. Edward searched for his love for 3 days, desperately combing the house and grounds, not daring to stop for food or rest. Yet his wife was never found. His friends tried in vain to argue that Jane was young and unsure and had run away on their wedding night, but he refused to listen. In his heart of hearts, he knew Jane would not abandon him. A fever gripped his mind, and he took to imagining a vision of his wife as he last saw her, full of life and vigor. Such was his grief that he took his own life with poison, and was buried in the churchyard where he had been married barely a month earlier. Years later, a rotting wooden chest was uncovered in the attic of Marwell Hall, its lock rusted shut. Those who had made the discovery forced open the lid in expectation of hidden riches, but found only death and horror. A skeletal figure, still swaddled in a raggedy wedding gown, lay inside, a sprig of mistletoe resting by her side. Yet even this was not enough to lay the spirit of love to rest. Edward's ghost is said to haunt Marwell Hall to this day, searching for his princess, so that he might awaken her beneath the mistletoe.
That's one hell of a fucking story. Yeah, we still got shit to do. Also, hi wall. Hi. Let's go over here and leave. We're actually done with the upstairs now, so now we just have to go down and leave. Right. The area of the TV. If we go to the TV and then turn left, we can click on balls. Yay. And if we click on the lamp head, a little skull would appear. Like that. I was able to get that to work, but the fucking other thing, nah, that thing won't fucking work. I wanted to as well, but no luck. Hey, remember? Actually, I should probably. Yeah, I should probably do this right now. Remember these Easter Island heads? Well, why don't we go back upstairs to that one room with that door we couldn't get to before? This room. Remember this door here? Remember what he said?
The answer lies in Easter.
Yeah. The answer is actually the Eastern Island heads. You see, the heads contain something that you might not have noticed. Because this is a mansion, and of course, all mansions hide hidden fucking keys. Yeah, click the big one, you find a key. This is the only time you actually get an item in this game. This is the only item in the game. This is the only puzzle in the game as well, so no surprise there. Remember this book though? The spirit photos?
Here is a photograph taken on the Bakerloo line in the tunnel, and we think it took place. Two pictures here. One is taken by a grandmother of a small do she had in Halifax, in the Liberal Club there. I believe it was a birthday party for her grandson, and she took some photographs of these entertainers on the stage. Now, most of the photographs on there are perfectly normal, but in between these normal photographs is a photograph of, up here, behind one of the entertainers, a picture of her mother and her stepfather, who've been dead for 5 years. Now, I asked her, when I started to question her on this, I said, have you got any other pictures of your mother and stepfather? She said, yes. I said, are they similar? She said, yes. And she showed it to me. The picture was very similar to that, but the mother was wearing a different dress, and she was about 10 years, the mother and the father were about 10 years older and had white hair. So here we have a duplication, literally, of a photograph that was taken much later in life, and yet they appear much younger. Quite extraordinary. No explanation for that. Here, this one was taken in some caves in the south of France. The woman who took this picture said that she was alone when she took this picture. She took it from a gallery. There are other people in this. She was with a party of people. They'd moved on, and she took the photograph on her own there, standing by the railings. When the picture came out, there was this white cloaked figure there, with its hand on the handrail, and on the hands are a couple of rings. This is the classic type apparition. Two pictures here. Two pictures here. This was taken by an elderly lady in a private wood in Oxford. Now this is another one of those strange and very telling photographs. She took a picture of her son, or was it a son or was it a nephew? I'm sorry, I can't, at the moment I just can't remember. Anyway, she took a photograph of this gentleman with his girlfriend in the woods. Nobody else in the woods, just herself. Private woods, remember, again. She took the first photograph, together like that. Then she took another photograph of the couple apart. Now in this one where the couple are apart is a figure moving through the girl. Here you see the skirt with the foot at the bottom, there's another foot behind, and the blouse and the top of the figure is actually moving through the girl. The lady concerned who took the photograph thinks that he was a recently deceased member of her family. This was taken by a man in Covent Garden, taken a picture of his child here and his wife and the young child in the pram at the background. Here, going across in front, you see a figure moving in a very, very unusual manner, leaning forward without any legs. And the mother says that she doesn't remember anybody going across in front of her, but even if somebody did go across, it's very unlikely they would have gone across in that angle, which is quite artificial and without any legs. And there is a blow-up of that picture, the central part of it. This was taken by a man. Here we have two photographs taken in the Austrian Tyrol by a group of English people who were on holiday for a week. At the end of their holiday, they decided to have a bit of a do in the evening, and they were all sitting around a table having drinks and watching a floor show. And when the floor show was finished, Mr. Todd, the man who took the photograph, he is, by the way, a garage man by profession. He's an amateur photographer, doesn't he doesn't handle a camera better than anybody else. He's set up his camera in the table in front on delay, 10-second delay, went back, sat down, and the camera went off. But the flash didn't go off. So he immediately got up, went back to the table, had a look at the camera, couldn't see anything wrong, reset the delay, went back, sat down. This time the camera went off with a flash. Well, anyway, eventually went home, had a look through all the photographs he took on holiday, put them in a drawer, and that was that. Sometime later, one of the other people in the party came to visit them and said, "Oh, by the way, can I have a look at our photographs we took on holiday?" Fine, okay. So he took them out of the drawer and gave them to her. And she's looking through these photographs, and suddenly she stops in her tracks and says, "Who's that? Let's have a look and see who that is." Here is the second photograph, and the second photograph, as you see, are just the people sitting round the table, nothing particular about it at all laughing and joking. The first photograph, which appears without the flash, is something quite different, because right in the middle of the tables, with the people surrounding them at the back, is another figure sitting there, 15% too big, slightly out of focus, when everybody else is in focus except a woman on the left here and the man who have moved slightly, but she is out of focus, I'm assured by the photographic experts that is from because it's blurred, not because she moved. Say she's 15% too big. She can be seen quite clearly through the beer glasses on the table, and she is quite solid. Who is she? Nobody knows. Nobody knows where she came from, where she went to. But in that fraction of a second that camera was exposed, or perhaps maybe in 2 or 3 seconds, because if the flash didn't go off, then the camera would take a longer exposure. It would compensate. So for the couple of seconds that camera was exposed, she appeared in the film and then disappeared. Nobody saw her, nobody was aware of her. I have affidavits from all these people. I went to see all these people. I questioned them, and I gave them a questionnaire, in fact, which they filled out. Everybody, I'm sure, was telling the truth. I didn't interview 3 people because I didn't know who these 3 people were, and the rest didn't know who they were. Otherwise, it's a straightforward photograph taken by a straightforward person in a perfectly ordinary situation. And yet here we have another person appearing at a table. And I say, without any doubt whatsoever, that is an apparition. Here we have 2 photographs taken.
Yeah, shut up.